Hey everybody, welcome to another Papa Dennis Keyboard Chronicles. And before I get started, I just want to point out that I'm not going to be doing videos for a while because I'm in the process of moving. Yeah, it's a nightmare. You've all done it. I don't think anybody likes it, but so I'm going to be out of commission for a while. I apologize for that, but thanks for your loyalty, my people who've been watching my videos regularly. And I've gotten lots of kind comments. I appreciate all that. I went through some of the beautiful string sounds on the MODX, and I put the names of each string performance as I transitioned to the performance to each one. And there's a lot of beautiful ones in the MODX. A lot of them are pretty similar. In fact, you almost can't distinguish some of them from the others. They're that close. And the differences can be very subtle. The string clips that I played for you, all those pretty ballads, those were all strings that were suitable for sustained, slow-moving songs or string backgrounds. Every once in a while, you need a fast attack string. So the one that I use, it's called Strings Section 1. I've got it selected here. And yeah, there it is. Let me turn the ARP off. Strings Section 1. And it's, again, fast attack. And sometimes you need that. Like the intro to Disco Inferno, for example. Or in Michael Jackson's Rock With You, the intro, after the synthesizer line, the strings come in. So you need that fast attack string sound to do some of those types of covers. Let's talk about some chords, extended chords, advanced chords. This has always been a big interest of mine. And let's start with that first song, Stella by Starlight. It's not a song that you hear very often. Of course, it's an old song. I have no idea when it was written. Probably could be 30s or 40s. I'm sure it goes way back. But it's an interesting song because as written, it starts with, in the key of B flat, which is what I've been playing it in. The first chord is as written, it's just I guess you'd call it a B flat diminished chord. Only the melody note is an A instead of that's a full B flat diminished chord. B flat, D flat, E natural, G natural, but the song starts on it with an A melody note. And interesting thing about it is there are a lot of substitutions just for that first chord. The one I played was that's just an F minor 11, the 11 being the B flat on top, to an E minor 11. And I've heard that chord substitution played a lot by jazz musicians. The voicing that I'm using for those two chords, it's something that's been attributed to the pianist Kenny Barron, and it's a very pretty voicing. In the left hand, and it's all fifths, interestingly enough. Left hand goes F, C, G. Okay, so that's fifth, another fifth, and the right hand plays A flat, E flat, and that B flat. And then just down a half step. Another E minor chord that you hear sometimes is an E half diminished, resolving to an A dominant chord. Okay, so that's another variation. Going back to the original B flat diminished chord, you can make that into a more dissonant sounding chord, or maybe you might want to call it a richer chord. That's what I played, the straight diminished chord with the A melody note. But you could throw in the F sharp. So it's kind of an interesting song for many reasons. It's very pretty, but it's got some unusual chord structures and chord sequences, and not many. I can't think of too many ballads, even going back to the 30s and 40s, that start on a diminished chord like that. So it's interesting. Okay, so there's that. I'm not. I could talk about the other chords in that song, but I'm not going to do it in this video. I should acknowledge that I borrowed a lot of those chords from the pianist Andy Laverne, and I played in my previous video. I played Andy's song called "Step Softly," and I believe he wrote that as kind of an intro to Giant Steps. That's why he's got the word "step" in the title. And as you may recall, if you saw that previous video, it's this thing. If you can imagine that leading right into which of course is Coltrane's Giant Steps, normally not played with violin sounds. Okay. I also want to revisit something that I've gone over a couple times, but I think maybe not quite as thoroughly as I should have. It's this notion of a 2/5. And let me explain what I mean. In any given key, let's start with pianist's favorite key of C. You have C major chord, and the chord that takes you back to the C could be a G dominant chord, right? There are other ways to return to a C chord, but that's very common. Anyway, you can what's called subdivide that G7 chord into a D minor G. So you could go that's D minor 7 to a G7. So there's your 2-5-1, right? 2-5-1. What's done often is instead of playing the 2-5-1, you'll put the 2 chord, the D minor 7, right over the G. So you're still playing the 2 chord, but you're pedaling it with the G. And then it becomes... And that can resolve to the... I call that a 2/5, right? And the D is really not necessary. In fact, very often the chord sounds better without the D. So, but technically that's a D minor 7 over a G root or bass note. And sometimes you'll see that chord written as F over G. But that's not technically quite correct. It's really a 2/5. I don't want to beat this to death, but that's basically where that came from. And then some guitarists will call this a G11. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on. I want to give you an example of that in practice. And let's take a song, an old Stanley Turrentine song. I don't know if Stanley wrote this, but it's a song called Sugar. And Stanley's intro, and I'm basing this on memory. It may not be 100% correct, but I think it's close. His intro was like... And that's the whole song. So that intro is your C minor to a G7 chord with a +5 or augmented fifth. But David Sanborn did the song, and he took that same intro, but he made it so there's that old 2/5 or F over G or a G11. It's an F chord over a G. And you'll find that chord everywhere in music, all over the place, very common. All right, so I think we've exhausted that. When I played Steps Softly in the previous video, I guess I was a little afraid that somebody would ask me to explain the chords. I can, but it would take a long time. They're pretty complex chords. I'm going to play it slowly, and I'll maybe make comments here and there, but you can always pause the video, look where my hands are positioned, and that might be easier for many of you than if I just told you, oh, that's a closed position A minor 9 over a D. Again, it starts with your classic 2/5, only it looks like a C major 7, doesn't it? There's a C major 7. To invert it twice, you've got that, and you put it over a D. Everything down an octave. So looks like a C major 7 over a D, but that C major 7 is really an A minor 9 chord. And you're putting it over a D. So, classic 2/5. I'm going to play it slowly, and I'll pause at each chord, and you can look at my finger positions, and that might be a faster way for many of you to learn it than if I just throw out chord names. Here we go. I don't know if that helped anybody, but I hope so. Anyway, I'll leave it there for now, and I'll see you whenever I can get back to doing these videos. It might be a while. Thanks for watching, as always. Bye.